Hi, everybody. I'm just hoping you guys can hear me on my Bluetooth. I'm just figuring that out right now. Okay. Well, welcome. We'll get started here in about 1 minute. Let me just make my screen a little bigger. Oh, good. Thanks, Anita. Thank you for coming. All right. So we are at the top of the hour, and I want to welcome you all to today's happy hour gentle yoga flow. So this is a class designed for Friday afternoon. If you have a glass of wine or find yourself in a comfortable place, that's perfect. This is a bridge between a week that you've had, whether at work or training, and anything you have coming up for your adventure, whether it's a race, a big hike. So today, this moment, this hour is just for you and just a chance to recharge. My name is Chi. I'm with Outdoor Fitness Coach, and my goal is to train clients, train athletes to be confident in their sport so that they can do what they love to do it well, and learn about themselves and outdoors. Yoga is a big part of that. It's a chance for you to recharge and give yourself a chance to get better and get ready for the next adventure. Today's class, you need a yoga mat. If you have some type of strap, you don't need it, but even a belt works. So if you're, we'll do a little bit of hamstrings towards the end. So see if you need one of those, you can go run and grab one. Also, if you need a pillow, maybe if you're tight in your hips, that will be helpful. So that's the housekeeping. If you're new to yoga, then know that you can, the main goal is to listen to your body. So throughout this class, I will offer lots of suggestions and lots of modifications, but you go with how you feel, and ultimately you are your guide. And you can always take child's pose whenever you need to. Today's session is broken up into 4 parts. The first part, we're going to start on the mat, and we're going to do some poses on our back, and to help kind of set the stage for the flow part. The second part is the flow part. We'll stand up and layer on what we did on the mat. Then we'll come back to the mat, go a little bit deeper, stay in the poses a little bit longer, and then the fourth part is shavasana. That's the time when you get to lay there and be still. Okay, if you're new to YouTube, no, I cannot see you and I can't hear you. So again, I will offer as much modifications and instruction as I can. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And today we're going to start actually on our shins. Now, if that's hard on your knees or your ankles, then find a more comfortable position. Also, using a pillow underneath your ankles can also be quite comfortable. And so we're going to start in this position here. Get nice and tall, and you're going to stack your shoulders over your hips, over your ankles. Rest your hands into your lap and close your eyes. And just find your breath and take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. So as you breathe in, fill up your belly, lift up your chest, fill up your back. And as you exhale, try to let go of any tension in your shoulders and your jaw. Deep belly breath in. And exhale. So take a couple more breaths on your own. One more breath together. Open your eyes. And we're going to come up, but not all the way up. All you're going to do, and you might need your hand here to do this, you're going to flick all your toes underneath you on both sides. Even the little pinky toe. Bend that all the way back. Your ankle bones and your big toes are touching, if that's as possible. Still sitting on your heels. And so you're going to do this as long as you can. If it's too much, then go ahead and put your feet forward. We're just going to take 3 more Ujjayi breaths, but we're going to do it with our toes underneath us. So hands on your lap, roll your shoulders up and back. So we want to really encourage this posture throughout our practice. You don't have to close your eyes. And I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose and a deep breath out through your nose. As you breathe in, lift up out of your lower belly. Breathe out. And one more time. And breathe out. Whew. Pretty interesting, right? The bottom of those feet get really tight. Okay, so we're going to start on our belly. We're going to go into Cobra Pose. Now, Cobra Pose is a back bend, and it can be a lot. So what we're going to do is do it very gently. So you're going to have your hands underneath your shoulders or slightly in front. Draw your elbows together and take a little, just lift up your rib cage and breathe in, look straight ahead. And then breathe out and lower. And now breathe in and look over your right shoulder, over towards your heels. And breathe out. Breathe in, look over your left shoulder. Exhale and breathe out. Let's bring our left hand in front of us. Reach back for your right foot with your right hand. Now, for a lot of people, you're going to feel this right away. What I want you to focus on here is we're going to start with our hips. So try to weight down your right hip as much as your left. And then I want you to squeeze your glutes so that you scoop your tailbone under. If that's okay, then you're going to start to bring the heel in closer towards your hip. You're welcome to rest your head, but the idea is you're really isolating and finding that quadricep. So if you had quite a training week, you're really going to feel this, and it should feel quite pleasant. Take another breath. Try to keep that lower back nice and long and supported by drawing your navel in towards your spine and keeping that waist long. Okay, so let's do the same thing on the left side. I'll just flip over so that you can see both sides. So you're supporting yourself with your right arm. Reach back for your left foot with your left hand. And then square off your shoulder so your left shoulder is facing forward. And then scoop the tailbone, draw your belly in. Your glutes are engaged. See how that feels. If that's okay, bring your heel closer towards your hip. So just getting the body ready, checking in. I call this a gentle flow because there's not a really extreme pose in this sequence, but the idea is that you're just waking up all parts of your muscles and your body, especially the hips and the upper neck and shoulders. All right, so go ahead and let that go. We're going to go back into child's pose. We'll do a child's pose throughout our practice today. Know that you have a few options. You can bring your knees together or your knees wide. So I'm going to bring my knees together for this one. My hands are going to be shoulder distance apart, and walk them out as far as you can and bringing your forehead down towards your mat. And then see how this feels. See if you can get longer through your waist as opposed to just shrugging your shoulders up. Try to keep that space in your neck and just get your spine nice and long. And then walk both hands to your right side of your mat. You can bring the left hand over the right or just keep them parallel to each other. From here, with the left hand, I want you to rotate onto that right pinky and turn your palm up towards the ceiling. Bring the thumb back down, so palm flat, and then rotate again. So palm up, as far as it feels comfortable. Walk your hands to the center. Let's switch sides, so both arms over to the left. Take a deep breath. You're making a semi-arc with your body here. And then rotate. Now the right palm, instead of facing down, rotate and pivot off that pinky and then bring the palm up and down. And again, rotate that palm all the way up. And back down. All right. We're going to go now onto our back. So this is still the first part of our practice today. You don't need any other tools. You're going to lay on your back and bring both knees into your chest. All right. So this is the pose that we're going to move off of when we're on standing up. So from here, hold the right knee into your chest and bring the left foot down to the mat. So the left knee is bent and bring the right knee over towards the right shoulder. All right, so far so good. So before we go any further, just notice your neck. So bring the right ear towards the floor. See how that feels? And then bring the left ear towards the floor. And then notice your shoulder blades, those shoulder blades down. And then slowly extend the bottom leg all the way out. If it's too tight on your hips, then keep that left knee slightly bent. Otherwise, you're going to extend all the way. Imagine pressing that heel away from you. Going back to the neck, you don't have to rotate it all the way back and forth, but just make sure your neck is soft. Make sure your shoulders are down, your shoulder blades are down into the mat, and your chest is open. So if you know where your biceps are, you should feel your biceps somewhat engaged. Left hand is going to come onto your left hip, and you're going to slowly bring the right knee out to the side. We're going to stay here for about 5 breaths. And the reason why is I just want you to just take some time and see how this feels. As I mentioned in one of my posts, sometimes our hips get really, really fatigued. So if that's the case for you today, this should feel really nice. So embrace this time. Bring your knee back to your chest. And we're going to go into a twist, but I'm going to really want you to break it down into a couple of components. So you're going to bring your right arm out to the side so it looks like a T. And I really want you to press this right hand firmly down so that this right shoulder comes down. Okay, so rotate that right shoulder down into the mat and draw your abs in so that your abs are engaged. And then slowly bring your leg across. And keeping the whole time that right hand pressed down, that right shoulder pressed down, so that it's not just about your hip, but the whole front side of the right side of your body. Let's take 2 more breaths. So let's breathe in, press that right hand down, get long. Breathe out, make a little bit more space. One more time. And then slowly come back. Both knees into your chest. Hold on to just the left knee and bring the right foot down. Roll your shoulders back and down. Turn your left ear towards the mat. Turn your head so that your right ear is towards the mat. Looking straight up, so now your neck is nice and soft. Slowly extend the right leg. Now sometimes I would say whatever you did to the one side, you do to the other. But with the hips, sometimes the legs are a little bit different. So if one side is different, honor that side and just maybe be a little bit softer. If your leg is extended, I want you to push out of that bottom heel. Do that. Pull it out of the way. Okay, right hand is on the right hip. And slowly open the left hip to the left. And take a deep breath in. And see if you can let that left leg fall into your hand. Now when we do the standing, it's a little bit more complicated. You can feel all the weight kind of moving to that left hip. So now that we're aware of how our body is in the weight, see if you can put a little bit more weight into that right hip and that right shoulder. So try to bring your abs in and press that back side of the ribs back into the mat. All right, back into center. Extend the left arm out. Remember, press that palm down. Press the shoulder down. And again, if your leg is extended, really be strong through that leg. And then slowly twist. On your breath in, just pause. Realign that hand. Get nice and tall. Exhale, twist. Breathe in. And the idea here is that oftentimes our hips get tired or sore, but there's a lot more going on in the chest and the core and the waist. So this pose really puts together the lower body and the upper body. Slowly come to center. We're going to use our abs here. So if you have any lower back sensitivity, I really recommend that you do this a little bit more mindfully and just support yourself. Okay, nothing crazy happening, but just know that this could be a lot for some of you. So both hands are down like a T. Make sure they're not too high up. And bring your knees into your chest and just draw your navel in just a little bit more. You're going to bring both knees over towards the right elbow and just hover. Breathe in, come back, and then both knees hovering over the left elbow. Your abs are really important here. So if you just drop your knees, that's going to put a lot of stress into your lower back. We don't want that. So abs in. For some reason, I like to point my toes. You don't need to. And then breathe out. Bring both knees to your right. Breathe in. And breathe out. All right. Knees to your chest. Let's rock and roll and come up. So that was part one, and we're going to now go more into the flow series. So standing so you're going to be facing the front of your mat. You're at the very front. I want you to bring your feet together and take a deep breath and bring both arms all the way up, looking up. On your exhale, imagine bringing the ceiling down towards you. Pull your elbows back, lift up your chest. On your next inhale, you're going to reach all the way up, get as tall as you can. On your exhale, I want you to soften your knees and come into a forward bend and stay here for a few breaths. So slow breath in through your nose and exhale through your nose. Shake out your head. One more breath. Really drop the chin towards the chest, lengthen the back of your neck, and then slowly walk your hands up your thighs. All right, we're going to do that 3 more times. So if it gets too much, use your hands to support you. If you want to go further, we're going to do a few more modifications. So take a deep breath in, bring both arms up, look up. On your exhale, you're going to draw the elbows down, lift the chest. Take a deep breath in, open up the chest. Good. Breathe in, reach all the way up. Exhale, soften your knees, forward bend, hands to the floor or to your shins, and forehead towards your shins or knees. Soften your knees and roll up nice and slow and use your hands if you need to. Again, breathe in, look up. Breathe out, open your chest. Draw the shoulder blades together. Breathe in all the way up. Exhale, forward bend, soften your knees, chin to your chest. The reason why I'm rolling up, so go ahead and start rolling up, is I want you to keep using your core to open up your back and open up the back of our necks. Sometimes it gets really tight from sitting on the computers. So take a breath on this neck sequence. Just see how your neck feels and how it's moving. Exhale, open your chest. Inhale, looking straight ahead. Reach up. Exhale, forward bend. And pause here. Take 3 more breaths. If you like to and you want to bring your feet wider apart, please try that. See what feels right for you. If your hamstrings are a little bit more warmed up, maybe you start to extend your legs a little bit more. Get ready to stand. Engage your core. Slowly roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. Okay, so far so good. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next part of our pose. It's a flow. So we're going to do a balancing. And if you're not really comfortable with balancing or you have any struggle, you can use a wall to help support you. So balancing on your left leg, I want you to bring your right knee into your chest. So this is what we just did when we were on the mat in the beginning. So remember, shoulders back, neck is soft. Push firmly into that heel. If your hips are tight, you can soften this bottom leg up slightly. And then bring your top leg in towards your armpit. Hold on to your left leg with your left hand and open to the right. Shoulders are soft. The trick is to keep your gaze steady at one thing. Slowly come back to center. Exhale and release. So switching sides. So now we're going to press your right foot down. Bring your left knee into your chest. Hold on to the front of your shin and bring your knee up towards your shoulder. So can stay in your position, but from a side view, your ears and your shoulders, your hips and your heels should be lined up. So right hand on your right hip, open to the left. Keep the breath flowing. Smooth inhale. And exhale. Back to center. And then slowly release. All right. So if you haven't been doing balancing poses and you find yourself kind of losing balance, that's okay. This is also really good for the ankles and the feet if you do a lot of hiking and a lot of running. All right, so we're going to do something similar. We got a few more poses that are balanced, but it's all going to flow when we start adding the other poses. So we're going to balance on our left leg and bring your right ankle on top of your left leg. Okay, so it looks like a figure 4. Your hands are on your hips and you're going to pull your hips back and your chest kind of comes forward. So we're going to take this in a couple of parts here. This is going to help open up your back here and your hips. So as you're here, I want you to slowly imagine sitting in a chair. If that's okay, then you're going to bend down a little bit more, but keep bringing your hips back and down. I'm just going to take another breath. Slowly release. Shake out that leg, and we're going to go on to the left leg. So cross the left ankle on top of the right knee. Breathe in. and then slowly dropping in. So there's two main joints that are moving here. One is your hip, the other one is your knee. So kind of balance out, see which one works the best. So on these bigger poses, and especially when we're first introducing a new pose, I'll usually try to stay about 5 breaths. Once we start flowing, we'll take more movements per breath. Or I'm sorry, 1 breath per movement. All right, slowly release and shake that out. Whew. Okay, so we got our hips and our hamstrings. Let's go ahead and get our balancing for our quads, and then we'll start our flow. So balancing on your left leg, we're going to reach back for your right foot with your right hand. Just like we started when we were in that cobra pose, very similar. So your right hand's up, your thumb is up. You're going to reach back and catch the inside. So a lot of people tend to catch the outside. That's how we did it when we were lying on our backs. But for this pose, grab the inside of your foot and then stack the knee over the hip, over the shoulder. Take a breath here. This is called dancer's pose. You're going to reach your left hand by your left ear. And what you're going to do in this pose is kick into your hand and just pause. So the idea for this is that you're going to open your right shoulder, your right hip flexor, and your quad. Now, if you want to go into the actual dancer's pose, you're going to pivot at your hip and get a little bit more in the back of the left hamstring. Keep kicking into that hand. Remember, scoop that tailbone under and keep your abs engaged to support your back. And letting go. Fun pose. It's such a beautiful pose. It really is a dynamic, getting a lot of different muscles involved. Okay, so the left hand, you're going to reach back with your left hand, catch the inside, bring the knees towards each other, and the hip and the shoulder are in alignment. Breathe in, and your right hand comes up. As you breathe out, start to kick into your hand. Again, the idea is that you're opening up the left side of the body. And then if you want, you can pivot and get the right hamstring as well. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale and release. All right, so ready for the warrior sequence. So we're going to do 3 of the warrior poses, and I'm going to walk you through all the poses as we do it. This is going to be great for your hips, your lower back, and open up through the whole torso. So to start, we're going to step back with our right foot. And we're going to come into warrior 1, but we're going to do it with our back heel up. So take a breath in, reach both arms up. Just take a moment here. So again, back heel is up. And as you exhale, you're going to bring the elbows down and lift the chest. Get nice and long with the core. So sometimes the tendency with warrior poses is to get into a really big back bend. But for this pose, I want your tailbone tucked under and open up the hip flexor. So really engage the core and scoop the tailbone under. Bring your palms together to your heart center. And then adding a twist. So you're going to twist, bringing your right elbow to your left knee. And if I switched your leg position, I'm sorry. So I'm going to do all of it now, left leg forward. So from this position, I did want to add a couple of things. If the hips are tight or your quads are really tired from a lot of working out, I want you to drop your back knee. This will help to really open up the hip without being as stressful. Keep lifting out of the chest and look up if you can. If your balance is unsteady, then keep your gaze at the floor. Beautiful. Slowly release. From here, you're going to extend your right leg, and you're going to support yourself with your left hand on your left thigh. So this is not triangle pose. This is extended side angle. I just want you to take a moment while you're resting here. This left foot is facing away from you, and this right toes is pointing slightly in. So this foot is square, and this one's facing it. So they're different directions. All right, and then lift it out of your shoulder and reach your left arm, or sorry, your right arm all the way up and over your ear. So you should have a nice long line between your right fingertips all the way to your right heel. Take a few more breaths. Come all the way up, warrior two pose. So extend your arms out nice and wide, bend into your left leg. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and change my position so that you guys can see what's gonna happen next. Come back into that warrior one pose, arms up overhead. Take a deep breath in, and then come into a balancing pose. So your left leg's gonna kick up. You're gonna reach both arms up by your ear, and you're gonna pivot. And this is warrior three. Inhale, come all the way up, and now you're back to standing. Whew. So a lot going on. We're gonna do the same thing to the other leg. So now your right leg is forward, left leg is back. Take a breath in, reach up. So let's stay here for 5 breaths. Now you know what's happening, what's gonna come. So let's go ahead and start opening up your chest. Take a couple of breaths here. Really scooping that tailbone under. Bring your palms together, adding that twist. Again, you have the option to drop the back knee and twist. Deep belly breath in. Slowly release. So now you're going to extend your right leg out and organize your feet. So right toes are facing one way, left toes are facing forward. Rest your forearm down and inhale, reach your left arm all the way up. Exhale and reach it over your ear. I like to think of it as one straight line. So my left foot is pressing down firmly. My left hand reaching. You're making lots of space through your ribs, through your lower back. Inhale, come all the way up, warrior two. So reaching out. Engage your arms, not just the top of your shoulders, but your triceps, so under your arms. Weight even both feet. 2 more breaths, gazing softly over your right hand. Into warrior one. So pivot your back heel, arms are up. And begin to transition into warrior three. So you're going to shift your weight forward, extend your back leg, bring your arms up over your ears. So my arms are making more of like a one or an I or slightly into a Y. So, but you shouldn't be able to see your arms in your peripheral vision. And then stepping together. All right, separate your feet, hip distance apart. We're going to do that flow again. But find a nice base of support and close your eyes. A lot of energy shifts in those poses, so just soak it in. So we're going to do that one more time, that exact same flow. And then we're going to do some deeper poses on the mat. So starting with our left leg, I'll get it. So if I messed yours up, I'm terribly sorry. So step back with your right foot. Your left leg is forward. Coming into that warrior pose. So we'll take 2 breaths in each pose. So breathe in. Exhale, bend the elbows, lift the chest. Another breath. Palms together. Adding that twist. You can keep the back leg extended or drop the back knee. Press that front foot firmly into the mat and lift the chest as you twist. Slowly untwist, extended side angle. So you're just going to unpivot the back foot. Your front foot is still facing forward. Bring your left arm on your left thigh. Reach your right arm all the way up and reach over your head. So extended side angle. Your feet are about 4.5 feet apart. Inhale, come all the way up. Stretch out the arms nice and strong. Exhale, warrior 2. Slowly back into warrior 1 pose with your arms up overhead. And then breathe out, 1 more breath. And then moving slowly into your warrior 3 pose. So arms are up by your ears. Bring that back leg up and pivot at your hip. And then standing at the front of your mat. All right. Good stuff there. All right, so last one on the other leg. You're going to step your right foot back. Breathe in. Breathe out and hold. Breathe in, hands together. Exhale and twist. Slowly come all the way up. Prepare your feet for extended side angle. Oops, sorry. So your top arm is up and then reaching over your ear. All the way up. Reaching your arms out wide and strong. Slowly come into warrior 1. Again, with your back heel up. Inhale, arms up. 2 breaths. Breathe it in through your nose. Breathe out through your nose. Again. And then into warrior 3. So shift your weight forward. Back legs lift. Arms are up. And then step together. Bring your feet about hip distance apart. Roll your shoulders back. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. So kind of like we started with the breaths, I want you to bring your feet together. Bring your arms all the way up. Look up. Exhale. Pull the ceiling down, elbows towards each other. Breathe in all the way up. Exhale, forward bend. Hands to the floor, head towards your shin. Step back with your left foot. Step back with your right foot. Now you're in a high plank. Lower to your belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Drop the heels. Lift the hips and press into all 10 fingers. Step your right foot forward. All right, so right foot's forward. I want you to walk your right foot towards your left hand. And then I want you to drop your back leg, your left leg underneath you, and now you're seated. Okay, so we're going to go into a pose called cow face pose, and this is the third of the third part of our class. The last part, Shavasana. So this is the part where we get to go into some deeper poses for longer periods. So the reason why I say that is if we're in a pose and you are extremely uncomfortable, be kind to yourself, grab a pillow, make yourself a little bit more, I want you to have fun with these poses because they do quite a lot, and I'll show you some modifications. So this bottom leg, your left leg is underneath you, and top leg is on top, and you're going to try to walk the knees so that they're on top of each other. And if you're like, gee, my hips are not going to do that, that's fine. I'm struggling too. These get exactly the parts of your hip when you're doing a lot of running and biking. So from here, you're going to grab your feet and either just sit up nice and tall and smile and pretend to be happy and comfortable, or you can lean forward if you want to go a little deeper. I'm going to go with the former. So get really tall, and what's going to happen when you get nice and tall and you stay strong is the muscles are going to start to relax, just let go. That's what we're trying to do here. So if anybody's counting breaths, that was about 6 to 7 breaths. We're going to now place this foot flat on the floor. So I'm hoping that the shade of the color of the carpet doesn't mask my color of my skin here. So it's more of a still pretzel, but this foot is flat. Now, if this is too tight on your hips, I want you to extend the leg out and just be in this position. It might be a lot more comfortable for you, and that's perfectly fine. Will not take away from the pose. If you're intrigued and you want that bottom leg underneath you, by all means, enjoy here. Okay, so the next pose is a twist. So if your leg's extended, you'll be just fine here. You're going to bring your arm all the way around and hook it onto your right knee. And I'm just going to pivot so you can see kind of the whole thing happening. I want you to bring this bottom arm behind you. And instead of relaxing back, you're going to press into it and lift up. And then adding that twist. So I have this elbow in my leg, and I'm kind of pressing it in as opposed to pressing it down. So I'm bringing that knee closer towards my chest than bringing it away. So let's take a couple more breaths, and I want you to just pay attention to that chest. So rotate that chest back, look past your shoulder. And slowly release. Okay, so that's a pretty deep pose. Now we need to go into the other side. So I'm going to face forward, and let's give it and bring your left leg on top, and we're going to go into that cow face pose again. So the knees are stacking. Again, if you have a pillow underneath you, it definitely helps a ton. This side's really tight for me. All right, so hands are cupping your soles of your feet. Get nice and tall. And if you do a lot of yoga practice and you've done this pose before, there are a few different variations of different styles of Mukhasana. Sometimes you have them, you're actually sitting on your feet. This one, I think, gets the side of your hips pretty effectively. So when you're in these poses that are a little bit deeper, you can close your eyes, try to relax your shoulders. So slowly coming out. So we're going to go from Mukhasana, the cow face pose, and we're going to go into a spinal twist. So you're going to place that foot flat on the floor, the knees in towards your shoulder. You're going to use your right hand on your left knee, and then your left hand behind your back, get nice and tall. And almost like you're going to shift your weight more forward than back. And then adding the twist. So when we first started, we did a deep twist, and I was trying to have you be really mindful of your shoulders and the rest of your body as you twist. Same idea. Now your hips are in one place, and you're rotating your body around your hips. So every time you inhale, see if you can get a little longer. Exhale and twist through your core, your torso, your chest, and your neck. And then slowly release. All right. So that was a big pose for your hips. And sometimes when people want their hips, they want to do pigeon pose, and I love pigeon, but if people have bad knees, it could get kind of challenging. So I didn't want anybody to get hurt on that. So we're going to start to finish off our poses here. And we're going to extend our legs out in front of us. So in this pose, this is called Dandasana. You're going to press into your hands and get as tall as you can out of your waist. So my feet are flexed. We're going to do a forward bend. So this is where if you have a strap and you are particularly tight, you can place the belt or strap around your feet. If you can grab your feet and it's not a strain, you're going to hold the outside of your feet. Take a breath in and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Breathe in. Exhale and so just taking your time. The importance of having your feet flexed is that you're also getting the back of your calves. Those get really, really tight. Notice how your shoulders feel, your lower back. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale and release. We're going to bring our legs very similar in the alignment and intention, but out into a V. You want to be able to potentially be able to touch them, so not so far out wide. If your hamstrings are really tight or your inner groin is really tight, you're going to have your hands behind your back. And you're just going to continually try to shift your weight forward. Press out of the bottom of your feet. So you're really, really kicking out your heels. And your quads are somewhat engaged here. If your legs are straight, your quads are engaged. So if you're able to, and you're able to keep your weight over your hips without your hands, start to walk your hands forward. We're going to use the same approach we did with the last forward bend. So on the breath in, get nice and strong and tall. And then on the exhale, try to find a little bit of space. Inhale, get long. Some of you might be able to bring your whole body flat on the floor in front of you. As athletes, we are always trying to push ourselves and find new limits. But in yoga, especially in a gentle flow, the idea is you're just taking a step back, trying a little bit less, pushing yourself a little bit less. This is not a time for any PRs. So slowly walk yourself back. Okay, so we have a little extra time, so we're going to add a couple of poses that we're going to kind of complement everything we've been doing. So your legs are on a V, you have your left leg bent, and you're going to place your right hand on top of your left knee. And this is just here to kind of be a guide. Eventually this top hand can move, or this bottom hand. And then bring your left arm all the way up. So ideally your hips are in a square position, your shoulders are stacked over your hips. And you're having a slight rotation. So this hand is kind of rotating us slightly here. And you're going to reach your hand, your left hand, towards your right foot. Breathe in, you're going to rotate this left shoulder back, and exhale and reach over. All the while taking deep breaths. Come all the way up. Keep step and switch sides. So now extend your left leg. Left hand is on your right knee. Again, let's get the hips squared up and the shoulders square. And then small rotation in the spine. Breathe in and then reaching for that foot. If this hand, if it's too much, you can always use that hand to support you. One more breath. And all the way. All right, so let's come on to our hands and knees. And we're going to finish off here with a little, just opening up the front of our hip flexors. So laying on your belly. Inhale for cobra. Exhale over. Inhale, look over your right shoulder. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, looking over your left shoulder. And coming down. Laying on your back. We'll do one more pose to open up the hip flexor. We'll do a bridge pose. And last time we did this, we did it a couple different ways. So we're going to do it the same way. So we're going to start with our back down. Your head is soft and your heels are walked in. Your feet are about hip distance apart. Okay, so you don't want your feet together. And you want your weight more in your heels than your toes. Your arms are going to start, you're going to have them reaching towards your feet. But then I want you to bend your elbows 90 degrees. So your fingers are reaching up towards the ceiling. Your elbows are down into the mat. And draw your shoulder blades down into the floor. All right, to prepare, bring some weight into your feet. So push down into your all parts of your feet, but more weight in your heel. And then start to pop your hips up and pause here. So again, check your head, notice your shoulders, scoop your tailbone, lift your hips higher if it feels comfortable for your hip flexors, and then bring the energy down into your feet. Head is soft, shoulders are down, forearms are pressing down. Sorry, top of your arms are pressing down. And then slowly lower one vertebrae at a time. So that's a nice way of doing bridge. It really focuses on how much energy is up in your upper arms and how much energy is in your feet. Now we can do it a traditional way. You can interlace your hands underneath you, or you can grab the front of your ankles. But because it's more of a gentle, I would rather go for the first one. So again, you can bring your arms into the robot arms, or you can interlace your hands underneath you, roll your shoulders underneath you. You're going to press your pinkies down and your upper arms down. Your head is still soft, gazing up towards the ceiling. Hips are up, press down through your feet. And then slowly release. Coming down nice and slow. Okay, so final Shavasana. This is what we all work for so hard in yoga. This is called the dead corpse pose. And the idea is that you become perfectly still. And I have a teacher that says that this pose is sometimes the hardest because the idea is that you quiet the mind. So bring your left hand to your belly and your right hand to your chest and just take a breath in. Acknowledge your work today. And then for the next couple of minutes, you're going to lie here still. We'll do this together. You can also bring your hands out in a more of a traditional shavasana with your palms up towards the ceiling. Settle your breath into a nice rhythm. Deep breath in. Exhale. And both knees roll onto your side in a small fetal position. When you're coming out of shavasana, it's almost like the idea the yogis say that you start new, start fresh. So you go from shavasana to a fetal position. Some people like to stay there for a long time. So if you're in that position, enjoy. So thank you everyone who's live to join me on Gentle Yoga Happy Hour. I hope you guys had a happy hour. I sure did. And same place, same time next week. And I will update. So if you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, I will be updating that. Or you can also support me on Patreon and have some fun stuff in there. So have a wonderful evening. Namaste. And have an awesome adventure weekend. We'll see you all next time. Thank you guys.